everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which I find out exactly how I must change the world, but the right way, or something. Can you believe that I don't actually write these intros? And I come to you live from Crater Valley on the moon with Dog, Cat, Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you, and not the remains of strangers launched from Earth onto my backyard. That's a whole other story. I covered that last week. But anyway, or earlier this week, I guess, too. But before I get into today's subject matter, who's joining me on this beautiful Thursday evening, this very, very cold Thursday evening in many places around the country, possibly where I am too, but who knows? Anyway, who's here? Keeverdam, hello, and thank you, Keeverdam, for helpfully providing the links to the GoFundMes for our friends from around the audience, Twisted Skipster, James Colley, Grisella, and Angry Illinoisian. Links to their GoFundMes are up there at the top of the chat box. If you could take a look at those when you have the opportunity, please donate if you can. If you can't, that's fine, but if you can, share those out on social media. That would be appreciated. All of our friends there have experienced a hardship of one form or another recently and could certainly use your help. So thank you ahead of time for that. And thank you again, Keeverdam, for your help. Noah Sencio, hello. Funtime Bats, hello. Tier Alexander, the Gentleman Lich, hello. He's predicting 2 bingos. Well, you're trying to call it like Babe Ruth, are you? I guess we'll find out. Advocatus Diaboli, good evening. Who else is here? Let's see. Mike R, hello. Vader35, good evening. Derek LaRue, good golly. Thank you so much, Derek. That's very generous of you. Always appreciate your generosity and support. Hope you're having a good evening. And I hope you enjoy the show. Thank you again. Who else is here? Anybody else on the list? Did I already say Noah Sencio? Hello. Well, Noah Sencio, hello. Kiro Soldier, hello. Jam, hello. Robert Pincus, hello. Draco Rincewind. Is it a Rincewind or Rincewind? Part of me wants to say Rince, but I don't know. You tell me. Mike R, hello. Did I already say? So I'm getting all mixed up. Is it Mike R? Do I have Ryan R? I got all these RRs. R. TC LaChance, hello. Fustonia, hello. Zan Wild, hello. Pissed Off Shih Tzu, hello. Rib Rascal, hello. There's Ryan R, hello. Jeanette E. Hellis, hello. There she is. And this is Kyle, hello. And anybody else that I might have missed, I hope I didn't miss you. Oh, is Mike Savage here? Did I miss Mike Savage? Was Mike Savage somewhere in here? Did I skip over him? Wait a second. Where'd you go? Are you here? Maybe I didn't. Or maybe it was before the chat started. I don't know. But if Mike Savage is here, blarg. And for anybody else who I either missed or is lurking or is in the future, hello. Yes, so tonight is a special TED Excellence in that we have two presenters. This doesn't happen very often. We have 2 people on the stage talking to us about a thing, specifically stuck in all or nothing activism. Plus the fact that on the description there appeared to be, and I only glanced at it briefly, there appeared to be one of those famous TEDx disclaimers. I don't know which kind. I only saw it for a moment, but I love it when TEDx gives me a disclaimer on its own content. That gives me a seal of approval. Officer Buck Tudd Russell, hello, and thank you for the how's it going, Dog Cat Fox. Oh, Dog Cat Fox.
Wow. Wow.
That's what Sinatra says, Dog Cat Fox. Thank you so much, Officer Buck. Appreciate it. And Keeverdam, what you have to say? You said there's a lot of R's, and I said there's more than one mic. Oh, it's true. There is more than one mic. So many mics, so many R's. I think Mike R and Ryan R need to like. I don't know. Are they part of the same family tree? Do we have like the R family in here? Is it just to have like the R's? We got to have like sort of what do we want? A feud going on. Hatfields and McCoys. The R's versus the, I don't know, how many other, what other do we have? We got some others in here somewhere. I don't know. You guys decide. You guys in the chat decide. We'll have a friendly war. A friendly war. That's what we want. Sure. The R family versus the Z family or something. I don't know if anybody else goes by their last initial in here. Anyway, this is where my mind goes when I'm thinking about stuff. What am I talking about? Oh yes, stuck in all or nothing activism. So when I first saw that title and I saw the thumbnail that had the two ladies on the screen, I thought to myself, how would you unstick yourself, so to speak, from all or nothing activism? And my first thought was, well, how about you lower your expectations, or perhaps meter your expectations? Shoot for the moon, so to speak. But at the very least, hope you hit the mountains, something like that. Yeah. Let's see. Roger Reynolds, hello. Full Metal Joker, hello. Joker. I can't do the sergeant's routine, unfortunately. Although his voice is part of the WTF, the classic WTF. Mark Smart, hello. Anybody I missed in the meantime? Matthew James, hello. But so we have two speakers, a title that asks a question which I already think I know the answer for, unless there's something more to the title that we don't know yet, and a disclaimer. All of these things combined made me very curious to know, what exactly do we have in store? Well, I don't know, except for the fact that it runs about 15 minutes, and we're going to start it now. So I'll start off with a few seconds for a sound test. Tonight's bingo card is bingo card C. C as in, what was the thing that I put up on the, civil disobedience. On the Twitter poll to decide the bingo card, I put up 3 types of activism: adversarial, boycott, and civil disobedience. Civil disobedience won by just a couple of percentage points. If you'd like to join in on voting for the bingo card each week, be sure to follow me on Twitter or X at scribe_light. But with that, again, this runs just under 16 minutes. So let's get going. Start off with a few seconds for a sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it. And then we will proceed to learn how to presumably get unstuck in all or nothing activism, or complaints about being stuck in same.
We're here giving a TED Talk because we run a thrift shop.
Okay. Actually, you're giving a TEDx talk, so let's not get too full of ourselves. And you run a thrift shop? Well, does Macklemore happen to patronize you from time to time? Everybody hear that okay? Sounds good, says Mike R. Says 5x5 says Kiro Soldier. Abdicaz Diabli says, I hear it, I see it, but I don't feel it. Well, we have to get to the metaverse before that happens, apparently, in some like feedback loop kind of things. Anyway.
That is a sentence I never thought I would say.
I never thought you would say it either, and I have no idea who you are.
It started when there was this huge chasm between everything that we knew was going on in the world and everything we could actually do about it.
Okay, so you run a thrift shop, and now you're on a TEDx stage, and you're worrying about all the things going on in the world. Also, I guess I just realized this. This comes from the same stage as I think the last TEDx we did, from the Bard College event, because that G on college is still off kilter, and it bugs me. It's got my sort of like English major OCD going off. Anyway, so yes, you're worried about all the things in the world and what you can do about them.
Do you remember May of 2020?
Oh, good gravy, George. I'm getting ready to put George Floyd as a square on the bingo card. I'm this close to doing it. As often as we hear that event brought up, I'm really, really close. Holy cats! Or holy dog cats fox. That didn't come out very well. But either way, Alan Thyler, thank you so much as well. That's very generous of you, with the Samurai #1 Dog Cat Fox. Oh, Dog Cat Fox.
Wow-wee! Wow! Wow!
Oh, that's a drunken Uncle Dog Cat Fox. Thank you so much, Alan Thyler. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoy the show. Okay, yes, May of 2020, George Floyd. Go ahead.
I remember sitting in my living room amidst piles of immigration papers.
Piles of immigration papers? Okay, there's a whole lot going on here. All right, so you run a thrift shop. You made your way to a TEDx stage. Sorry, you said TED stage, but a TEDx stage. And you're trying to change things in the world. It's May 2020, and you're before a bunch of immigration papers. Okay.
It was 2 months into quarantine. I was listening to the news of police brutally murdering Black people in plain sight.
I'm sure you were.
and suddenly feeling like the reality for people of color in the United States was not far from living under the dictatorship that I was running away from.
You have a decidedly skewed version of reality running around in your head. And it's I can almost maybe feel sorry for you in that it's been pumped into your brain by the echo chamber you probably exist within. But okay, sure. Well, then I guess you might as well go back to where you came from, huh? Why are you still in America? If America's a dictatorship.
I was Cloroxing canned goods.
Okay, so far, both of you have shown yourselves to be highly susceptible to media and government insanity and propaganda. Okay, well, I guess that's where we stand.
And there were people righteously marching in the streets.
Yeah, during, what was that Q word you used a few minutes ago? Oh, yeah.
I had just come from a long stretch of time dealing with chronic illness where all of my energy had to go into my own survival. And my partner's too. He had just finished 3 years of chemo. The thing is, I now had more energy to give than I'd ever had before in my adult life.
Because of marching in the street and lockdown?
So while I was scared to leave my house because of the risk of COVID complications, I had to find a way to do something.
Well, I mean, I guess I was in a similar boat. I didn't have anywhere to go because everything was locked down or closed or went out of business as a result. So I had to find something to do. And you know what I ended up doing? TED Excellence live streams. It's all the fault of the lockdown that we're here today.
Jillian and I grew up 5,000 miles apart. I was basically brought up with the knowledge that eventually, no matter what, I'd have to leave my country, Belarus, because of the authoritarian regime.
Okay, and you did so. But now America is just like Belarus. Right?
But even then, as a kid, I still religiously went to all of these protests in hopes that my tiny presence would help change something.
All right, well, before we get any further, that was a childhood or family anecdote, so let's go to the bingo card. And we will highlight as soon as I get it set up here. There we go. Childhood or family anecdote. Remember, this is bingo card C. Links are in the description. Let's go over the bingo card once to remind ourselves what we are listening for. First, we have diversity, equity, and inclusion, word salad, mind reading or assumes motives, a list, marginalized or marginalization, patriarchy, contradicts own point or argument, feminism, attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase, systemic or institutional, anecdote that probably never happened, white supremacy, leaves out vital context, argumentative non sequitur, sales pitch for product or service, privilege, collectivizes own demographic, self-vilification or wretchedness, economic disparity, benevolent condescension, plays victim, and again, that is the speaker playing the victim in some way, shape, or form, weightless example, and lastly, microaggressions or unconscious bias. So far on the board, we have free space and childhood or family anecdote. If you have arguments for squares to be circled, I may catch them in the course of the presentation by looking over at the chat, which I occasionally do during the show, or otherwise, there will be time at the end to discuss those in full. So let's keep going.
It didn't. I came to the United States alone at 16. 7 years later, in 2020, I was once again seeing people trying to make change, and I wanted to help. Sure, I had no money. That's fine. I could go to a protest. Incorrect. Turns out, if you are an immigrant and you get arrested for civil disobedience, you can get deported.
Well, yes. If you come here as a guest of our country and you're not here as a full-fledged citizen, yeah, your situation is decidedly more tenuous. So there you go. Also, she says civil disobedience, which was the winner, as it were, of the poll today. That's interesting. Didn't plan on that, but I'll take it.
So I started calling my friends to try and figure out what to do. Thankfully, one of those friends was Jillian.
I was a dual degree student at that time, studying flute performance and human rights.
Oh man, when I think of bankable educational backgrounds, hi, yeah, that is quite the combination. I don't know that I've ever heard of that one before. Somewhere in my mind, a Pied Piper joke is trying to form itself, but it's just not working.
I was learning so much about the theory and the history behind activist movements and shaping my skills for critique. But that didn't mean I knew what to do in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't studying human rights or, law, correct? So if she calls you and says, hey, I want to protest, but I can't risk a criminal record of any kind, given my situation, why would she call you?
My schedule was full and my bank account was not. So donating more than $100 really wasn't possible.
Well, given your educational choices, I'm not surprised your bank account wasn't, anyway.
So we couldn't donate.
Uh-huh.
Neither of us could go to a protest.
Well, no, you both could go to a protest. That was entirely your prerogative. I mean, the lady in the green is rolling the dice because of her legal situation. The lady with the flower jacket was not prevented at all, save for her paranoia. So,
but clearly we had capacity to do something.
Okay. Yes, you could do something. I'm not quite sure what that you could do that would have an effect. What exactly were you trying to change? What exactly were you attempting to implement?
We just had to figure out what.
Uh-huh.
Well, we did have something else in common.
Uh-huh. You both look honestly, when I first saw them, I thought they were sisters or related or something. Maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they're distant cousins. I have no idea.
We did both grow up in secondhand clothes.
Okay.
By middle school, I was using my babysitting and, more importantly, goat-sitting money to buy outfits that I wore for school and for flute recitals and hanging out with my friends.
Goat sitting? All right. Well, whatever kind of side hustle you got going on.
And the clothing that I could find in these funky local thrift shops in my hometown in Vermont always felt like they had all this possibility.
Yeah, mostly possibilities that have been used up by their former owners, but okay. Anyway, sure. Okay, you're both very thrifty in your fashion choices. Thank you, C. Thomas. How to Escape Activism, Just Walk Away. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm making kind of an assumption that the title of this presentation is going to be advice about how to not be stuck in all or nothing activism or activism in general. That's my guess, but I don't know. So far, we've had life stories and thrift stores. So, okay.
I've frankly hated conventional shopping my entire life.
Conventional shop. I mean, how much? And I don't know how much conventional shopping was available to you in Belarus.
But I've always known how to thrift because back in Belarus, my mom used to buy clothing for me by the bag. As a kid, I thought it looked obnoxious. As an adult, I think my childhood photos are some of the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Okay.
So the connection between grave social injustice and
grave social injustice.
Thrifting isn't exactly an obvious one.
No.
What we didn't tell you yet is our thrift store is called Thrift to Fight.
Okay, so you sell used clothes and some portion of your profits go to organizations or charities of your choice. I'm guessing. Okay.
And in the beginning, it wasn't a store at all.
Oh.
Back in June of 2020, we didn't know how we could fight for what we believed in.
What? Okay, and I know I'm going to ask this over and over again. What specifically do you believe in? What exactly is it that you are attempting to move the needle on? I still don't have quite a clear idea on this yet.
And we weren't the only ones. all around us every day. We heard people say things from two completely opposite ends of the spectrum.
Uh-huh.
I feel helpless. I don't even know where to start.
I alone have to do everything to change the entire world today.
I suppose those would be two opposite spectrum of what? Thank you, Keeverdam. Better name, thrift each other up. Oh, how about this? Rising tides thrift all boats. Anybody else got a good thrift pun for this? Thank you, Keeverdam. Oh, thank you, Kiro Soldier. Appreciate it. I both ran a thrift store and wore secondhand clothes when I lived in St. Louis, and yet I'm still in possession of my full rational facilities. Well, but what, did you come from Belarus? Are you a graduated flutist? I presume not, Kiro Soldier. So there, I owned you.
What a perfect way to get completely stuck, right?
And it's understandable that you would feel that way because, especially online, many calls for action went out indiscriminately.
Everybody should donate money.
Everybody should volunteer here.
Yeah, it was rife with scams and nonsense. It really was. What exactly are you guys fighting for again? I'd appreciate some clarification. Thank you again, C. Thomas. Thrifty McThrift Store. There you go. That'd be a good one. Yeah, I like. Suddenly all the puns are running at my brain. I have to distract myself. Thank you.
Everybody needs to go to their town board meeting, and everybody should care about this one cause.
And that everyone is you. Alone. If you manage to take all prescribed actions, congratulations, you passed at civic engagement.
And you've accomplished effectively nothing still. I'm still wondering, and I from time to time, YouTube will recommend to me some of my own videos and own streams from the past. And I watched one of my previous TEDx talks from long ago, in fact, in the middle of the lockdown, if I recall. And it was dealing, or at least the speaker brought up Black Lives Matter and all of the virtues of it at the time. Remember, this is like deep into 2020 and everything. And I asked the question then, and I still ask the question now, and just as an example of modern day activism, how has Black Lives Matter, as an example, improved race relations in this country? That right? Or how has Greta Thunberg and her movement demonstrably and measurably changed anything about climate change? What does any of this actually accomplish ultimately? Except to, in most cases, end up enriching people who are just grifting off of the entire thing. I don't know, because for the most part, I've never heard or seen anything that tells me, oh yeah, that was worth the effort. So again, I'm wondering, where are we going here?
If you don't, or you simply can't, you fail. It feels like it's all or nothing.
That is a you problem. Assess what is really worth your time and what you can do to actually help people.
This dynamic, for many, gave way to some performative exclamations and quickly burning initiatives, and eventually just led to this perpetual critique of each other's actions, or worse, an endless stream of self-congratulations.
Oh, okay. Well, then, in the realm of activism, give us your no true Scotsman analysis of someone's efforts on behalf of causes they believe in.
Especially within bubbles of young, progressive white people.
Oh!
We were all of those things.
Wait. Were? I hate to tell you this. There's some elements of those descriptors that remain true even now.
So we had to be really, really honest with ourselves.
Okay.
And the truth was that we simply didn't have enough experience to be reinventing the wheel of activism without.
Sorry, I actually didn't mean to cut there. My reflex thumb slipped there. Let's try that again.
And the truth was that we simply didn't have enough experience to be reinventing the wheel of activism with our limited wheel-making knowledge.
And the last thing we wanted to do was fall into the long legacy of white saviorism.
Oh, okay. Well, circling self-vilification or wretchedness on the board. I actually hadn't imagined that would happen here, but there you go. Yes, our skin color makes us lesser. Our skin color makes us potentially a problem. Okay, well, good for you. Also, I'm also going to circle economic disparity because they did bring up the fact that neither of them had any particular cash backing to themselves. So there we go. All right. Okay. So yeah, you didn't want to fall into the white savior category. You didn't want to reinvent activism. You didn't think you could do that. Oh, you didn't get so full of yourself. What are you trying to accomplish?
But we also couldn't allow ourselves to stand still because every day, ding, 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 notifications were popping up from this initiative and that, asking others to Venmo them for medical kits, safe rides, bottled water, printing paper, all the small, boring, but necessary stuff to keep people going.
Do you have any agency of your own or any, I don't know, spine? Do you operate on the whims of people begging you for help all the time? Is that how it is? Social media dictates to you what you should think and should believe in and should do and what you should do with your money and so on? Maybe you need to disconnect from Twitter and Instagram and everything for, I don't know, ever.
Since we couldn't join them, maybe we could at least support them.
Mm.
But with what?
With what? Is it money?
We were literally looking around ourselves, secluded in our apartments, for something, anything we could contribute. Oh. Clothes. For starters, our closets were full.
Boy, for not having any money, you sure have a lot of clothes.
So we piled up all the dresses and jeans and sweaters onto an old blanket, onto a porch, and we called it a thrift sale. We would donate all the money raised to people who were doing the work that we couldn't do.
No. The work that you were choosing not to do. You can always volunteer your time, even if you can't volunteer your money. But so you're going to have, wait, let me just get this straight. Okay, the one girl, she's afraid of being deported, which, and I don't know immigration law like an expert to say whether or not that's much of a risk in her case, but okay, let's say that that's a real risk on her part if she goes out and gets arrested for civil disobedience. We'll just call that I'll just take that on faith for the sake of things. You, flower jacket girl, nothing was stopping you from doing stuff. And if you're having a thrift sale on your porch at your house, how is that effectively any different than, quote unquote, putting yourself at risk out in the public square anyway? You're having people coming from the outside to your place of residence and interacting with you and touching things and everything else. So you had every ability to go volunteer your time to something. You just chose not to.
Like a group that was providing safe rides for Black trans protesters in New York City.
Well, that's very specific. Safe rides for Black trans protesters in New York City. Okay.
Our friend Anna immediately, right there on the spot in like 3 seconds, created an Instagram account, and we gave it a name that felt the most true, the most direct, and maybe somewhat inflammatory.
Oh, do regale me with your snarkiness.
Thrift to fight fascism.
Oh, for crying out loud. Thrift to fight okay, where? What fascism were you fighting? By all means, edify me. I'd love to know what your clothing store was putting down the fascists. Thank you, Officer Buck Tudd Russell. Again, they had a thrift sale, as in during the height of COVID, they made an event for people to get. I know, right? Our flower girl is so paranoid about going out during lockdown and risking COVID complications because her partner just got off of chemo and so on and so forth. Hey, let's have an open air public gathering of thrift clothing purchasers and things and invite people from all over the place. Yeah, what? Okay. I think that kind of contradicts own point or argument. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Also, the fighting fascism thing. Yeah. Anyway, a little bit too much there. All right. So, thrift to fight fascism. All right, you're jumping on that Antifa bandwagon.
That's an actual photo from the first sale.
You know what? I believe you.
And within the first hour, all sorts of people heard about our sale from passersby. And instead of just coming to buy clothes, they first went back to their houses and brought their clothing to us.
Oh, so the potential carriers of the disease you were trying to avoid by going out in public are now bringing not only themselves, but clothing from their homes to mix in with the clothing from the stuff you collected, which will then go out to other people. Okay. Okay.
So at the end of a gray, rainy day in a 1,000-person village,
a 1,000-person. What does that got to do with anything?
we raised $600 and somehow ended up with more clothing than we had started with.
Great. All right. And the $600 went to ride shares for Black trans activists in New York, right?
$600. That may not seem much, but for grassroots organizers, that money could go really, really far.
And you did what with it again?
It's the difference between getting 1 and a dozen people home safe after a rally.
Some people would say maybe you should take responsibility for yourself in such situations. But whatever. Okay. You raised the money. It's your money. You spent it on what you wanted to spend. More power to you. Thank you for contributing to this capitalist society.
And everyone was asking us, when's the next sale?
Yeah. When's the next super spreader event? I mean, next thrift sale.
I was thinking, next sale? I guess we have to do another one. Where else are we going to put all these clothes that we don't need?
Back in your closets where they came from in the first place? Oh.
And so we did.
Okay.
We organized another sale and another and another and another until our entire summer was full with collecting, sorting, and selling donated items.
Well, good for you. Entrepreneurialism at its finest. Yay.
But finally, it didn't feel like we were stuck in one place anymore.
Okay.
We were also no longer just raising money. We were spreading information in person.
Amongst other things.
You'd come to a Thrift to Fight sale for clothes, and you'd also walk away with a book, a zine, and the phone number of someone you needed to connect with.
Oh, you were a propaganda farm. Okay, that's great.
So many people started joining us that I'm pretty sure I made more friends in the summer of 2020 than I had in the decade prior.
Well, I again, congratulations. It sounds like it was a very, very successful endeavor. Okay. And
it was because during peak COVID rates, pre-vaccine, we were creating opportunities to be together in person.
Wait a second. I hate to keep harping on this. What exactly was the barrier that prevented you from joining the very rallies that you decided to support after the fact? What was that worry again? What was that bit about your partner and he had just gotten off of chemo and was conceivably sort of, vulnerable to infection and such? Okay. Yeah. What?
While distanced, masked, and outside.
Okay. All right. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. No, that went on. That went on far too long.
What?
What is that? What the fuck is that?
That level of just cognitive dissonance and outright sort of, I don't know, hypocrisy of fear. I'm not quite sure how to put it. It just keeps bugging me. So I'll just encapsulate all of that with a WTF because seriously, you don't know. You don't tell us at the top that you have a limitation based on your concerns for someone's health or your own, and then try to hand wave away the very contradiction of your own efforts and actions thereafter. Just no, sorry.
We talked about everything that was so confusing about
Mm.
2020.
Uh-huh.
We laughed and we grieved and we spent time together.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why it felt so unique.
Because you'd never done anything like it before?
At that same time, most institutions and foundations were actually shutting down. But we were just getting started.
Yeah, why were they shutting down? Golly, why were they shutting down? You want to talk about that bit at all?
By that point, some people were driving hours just to get to a Thrift-to-Fight sale.
Uh-huh. So you benefited from the demise of other institutions and businesses during the course of the lockdown that basically made illegal operations such as yours if they were taking place in a brick and mortar store. All right.
So we thought, okay, why don't we go to them?
So at the end of my senior year, we dreamed up an unthinkable project.
A thrift clothing delivery service.
We were going to rent a truck, load it with just enough clothing for one sale, and attempt to go on a tour of New York State.
Uh-huh. Great. This is going to end up being a sales pitch for Product or Service Circle for sure by the end of this. Because we basically, are they still going? I guess is the next question. At this point in time, given that this talk, the talk was published just within the last couple of days. Whether or not the talk itself took place within the last couple of days, or last month or two, I don't know. So the curiosity for me is this business still going? And if so, then I'll feel more comfortable circling sales pitch for product or service. But let's see.
All the money raised at one sale would stay there in that community, but the clothing collected there would be sold in the next city the next day.
Okay.
And we did just that with our friends Colin and Gordon.
So wait, people from the community come to your store, give you money for clothes, and then you return the money to the community. I'm not quite sure. What do you mean return to the community? You're not giving it back to the people. You're not giving the clothes away for free. So where are you putting the money? To whom are you donating the money within that community? I don't understand that bit. Or that's the part that I'd be most curious to know the answer to. Thank you again, Officer Buck. Businesses may be shutting down and the world may be ending, but some rando protester needs their noogies and a ride home. I guess so. I guess so. Now, if they're saying like we donated back to the community to support people or businesses that are being harmed by the lockdown, okay. I have a distinct feeling that that's not where the money was going. But Divine Petulance, y'all have been listening to this up talk for a half hour. God have mercy on you. Well, I consider it an endurance challenge, personally, but I don't know. To each their own, I suppose. Anyway, you were going around and doing what now?
Next day.
And we did just that with our friends Colin and Gordon. Spanning 9 cities in 3 weekends, we saw hundreds of people coming together over thrifting.
I don't see everybody masking. I see a bunch of public collections of people during a lockdown. I'm just saying.
To raise money for racial, disability, and queer justice.
Racial, disability, and queer justice. Like, what organizations did you donate to? That's what you're looking to do? Okay, so during the course of the lockdown, with a whole bunch of businesses failing and being shut down or being criminalized for just trying to make a living, you're roving around New York State, selling thrift clothes, taking the money and donating it, quote, to the community. Not quite sure what that means. Okay, but to whom are you giving the money? What are their ends and so on. Okay, whatever. It's your effort, your money, I suppose. Thank you, Keeverdam. Their business is apparently still in operation. Website is thrift2fight.com. All right. Well, with Keeverdam's timely information, I'm going to circle sales pitch for product or service, because this is certainly one of those. So circling that on the board. Oh my, we're just a couple more away from a bingo. We'll see where we get.
Somebody actually got so inspired by one of those sales that they started their own Thrift to Fight chapter at Buffalo State University.
A chapter. Oh, that sounds promising.
It's now been running for 2 years.
We came back energized and also exhausted. So we took some time to reflect and with attention to both what was working so well with Thrift to Fight pop-ups.
The sense of community, the scrappy come-togetherness.
And what was not working.
Did you finally get a brick and mortar storefront? Or did you go online? I mean, obviously we know you went online at some point, but all the activism fluff aside, for better or worse, this just sounds like a really good story of entrepreneurial ambition and capitalism for a good cause, I suppose. However they want to spend their money, it's their money to spend, but okay. And where are we going with this? I guess is the question. Are you franchising this out? Is this a sales pitch to get franchisees?
And what was not working?
The chaos of hauling clothing outside in unpredictable weather, especially winter, perpetually filling our personal spaces with other people's trash bags full of clothes.
We let ourselves imagine what Thrift to Fight could become.
A chain?
What we needed was a space where people could come together all year long.
Oh, you mean a storefront?
And it needed to be a space that could be actually self-sustained.
Meaning it wouldn't depend on the two of us volunteering all of our time until we could no longer pay for our own food and housing.
So it had to become a for-profit endeavor?
So one afternoon, Jillian, Colin, and I were sitting on that very same porch that hosted our first sale. And I remember saying, let's open a store, maybe?
Oh my God! Hey, kids! Let's put on a show. We got an old barn in the backyard. I got some curtains over there. I got some costumes from the old, flea market. Let's put on a show, everybody. Oh, hey. Let's open a store. And my other friend said, but I want to do flute concerts. So we decided to combine the two. Oh, wait.
Maybe. That's bold. We could try.
But can I get a business license since I can't get arrested for civil disobedience or what?
But to go from sporadic pop-up sales to actually opening a storefront, we had to learn a whole entire new set of vocabulary and, most importantly, the skills to go along with it.
If only you'd spent your time in college for a business degree or something instead of flutes and social politics. Necessity is the mother of invention.
So after a year of shaping our work around raising and donating funds for other initiatives while being 100% grounded in our values.
You compromised into becoming capitalist entrepreneurs.
We are now in these new territories with entrepreneurs and business coaches and angel investors.
That world was alien.
Yeah, I guess it was. Congratulations. You've graduated.
And true, sometimes talking to business bros felt horrible.
Oh, you mean career professionals? I hate to tell you this. You two are, if nothing else, nascent business bros. I know. It's a shocking thing. But, if you want to, here's the thing, though. In this day and age, you can bite the hand that feeds you. And as long as you say the right things, they'll thank you for it. As we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years. Good gravy.
But we were on a quest. We were excited.
Thrift to Fight could become a permanent place.
However, the further we went into the weeds of capitalism, the more we had to prioritize. classic things: rapid growth, scalable models,
Uh-huh.
higher returns.
Yeah. Welcome to the wonderful world of reality.
We were suddenly convinced that we needed to raise and then repay hundreds of thousands of dollars in investment to even have a sliver of a chance at a successful business.
Yes, that's what investment usually entails. You're looking to get a return. Yeah, okay. So if you found that so unattractive, where did you go?
Sound familiar? We're back at that all or nothing crossroads.
That all or nothing. So this entire presentation is just detailing your cycle of having a lack of commitment or fear thereof.
So we needed to get regrounded in our original goal.
Your original goal to, as much under the table as possible, raise money for your personal pet projects. Okay.
Doing something.
You were doing you were, and I don't know what happens next in the story, but at least to the point we are now, you were on the verge of establishing a business, perhaps even a chain of businesses that would have employed more people than yourselves, generated money for more people than yourselves, including yourselves, and at least within the circles that you travel and your customer base is made of, improve people's lives beyond your own individual efforts. You were doing something, but apparently the poison pill to the whole thing is the work, the capitalism of it. You strayed from your original goals. I'm decidedly confused. Okay, what happens next in this story?
That business model turned out to be pretty difficult to explain to an actual billionaire, and
What? Wait, what? Okay, I gotta back up. Did I miss something? That business model? What business model?
of a chance at a successful business.
Sound familiar? We're back at that all or nothing crossroads.
That is not an all or nothing crossroads. Okay.
So we needed to get regrounded in our original goal. Doing something.
That business model turned out to be pretty difficult to explain to an actual billionaire, and we did try.
Wait, what business model? The business model of quote unquote doing something? Have I lost it here? Or has something been cut out of this presentation that was vital to me understanding what the hell's going on? Oy.
Fortunately, at that same time, we were also meeting people who weren't billionaires and still wanted to share their resources with us.
Share? Not invest. Share. Okay.
And that funding was just enough to convince a landlord to rent to us.
And that was a good start.
So, okay, so you went on track to start an actual business based around the same intent as your original project to give the money away to the charities you wanted, except that now it was going to have to be, for the sake of your own survival and the functioning of it, a for-profit endeavor. But then that scared you because you had to deal with business bros, and somehow this became an all or nothing endeavor. I don't even know what that means. So you want to get back to your roots, but that business model, whatever that means, didn't convince a billionaire, but it did convince people who were willing to share their resources, and then you could convince a landlord to give you a storefront. So how does that differ from your original plan or your all or nothing fear?
Now that a store was in the realm of possibility, everybody around us was ready to rally.
And because of that, in January of 2022, Thrift to Fight, the store, opened on the bright first floor of a historic building in the same town where we both live.
Okay, congratulate. Uh-huh.
We fixed it up and remodeled it and decorated it with a giant ragtag team.
Yeah, I passed his prologue. I would assume that would be the makeup of it, yeah.
It was us, yes, but also a local painter who runs karaoke at the pub down the street, a Bard College dean with an affinity for carpentry, the same one who made these letters. All
Oh, is he to blame for the G? Well, now I know the culprit.
of these friends and all of these students who were around at that time.
Were they compensated for their labor?
And now that we're open, people come in and say things like,
Hey, I remember helping you paint this door and those walls at 2 a.m.
didn't we meet in a parking lot so I could give you 5 garbage bags full of clothes? I
Wow.
can't believe that turned into this.
A mom once told us, this is the only place where my trans kid feels comfortable shopping.
Wow. A ringing endorsement if ever I heard one.
At Thrift to Fight, we get to see cross-generational sharing.
Cross-generational oh, so you hand-me-downs. Yeah. I think I've experienced that or witnessed that a few times in my life. Yeah, okay.
Someone's old sweater from the back of their closet becomes this new beloved item that a first-year college student will build every outfit around.
Okay. Again, congratulations on your efforts to make your own business, but I hate to tell you this, Goodwill, secondhand stores, thrift stores are not a revelation. I'm glad you're having fun, but really, you might want to lower the soles on your boots a little bit.
And their very action of getting that sweater from Thrift to Fight is continuing this long chain of thrifters and fighters who got us from $600 to $75,000 raised.
Wow. And where is all this money going? And here's the $75,000 question. What change has resulted from any of it? I mean, aside to your own, career pathways or personal wealth or anything else, what actual societal change has resulted from any of it?
And all of that money was donated to people who are already doing great work.
So you say, would you like to give us some examples?
Whether it be to reunite families after prison.
Reunite families after prison. Did the families forget where their family member went?
Or help kids coming back from ICE detention centers.
Kids coming back from ICE detention centers. Okay.
Or to keep someone safe and affirmed when their entire existence is being outlawed.
Oh, I can only imagine who you're referring to with that one, given previous TED Talks.
So how does this apply to you?
You want us to give you money? Or you want us to become franchisees?
Well, if you've ever read the news.
I have read the news at least once.
And then had no idea what to do with that information.
I read it out loud onto a nightly news show with my friends for 4 years. And as far as what to do with the information, what are you talking about?
We can relate.
Because every step of the way with Thrift to Fight, we've been meeting people who are also tired, disillusioned, angry, busy, and most of the time overwhelmed.
And I'm almost certain that nearly all of it and their handling of those situations is by their own choice.
And we watch those people find the space between the delusion of helplessness and the delusion that they alone have to do it all.
So buy our clothes or come to us so you can open your own franchise?
You can find that space too.
I can.
What do you have? Start by taking stock of anything that is accessible to you.
What do I have? What's accessible to me? I got some napkins over here. I ordered a sandwich today and it came with some napkins. I got 1, 2, 3. I have 5 napkins. Here, I'm flopping them against the microphone. I have 5 napkins. Okay.
It can be something as simple as secondhand clothes or
Well, I mean, I admit this is simpler than secondhand clothes. It's 5 napkins.
literally anything else.
And maybe it's knowledge, especially if your insight comes from your direct experiences with unjust systems that you have had to fight.
Oh, good gravy. Can I tell you something about the unjust system of TEDx presentations? I've had to fight them every week for the last 4 years. Okay, all right. Let's say I take my 5 napkins and my TEDx knowledge. What do I do with this? What should I do with this?
If you're feeling a little pang of scarcity right now, that's normal. And
I mean, it is only 5 napkins.
it will start to dissipate when you
Oh,
remind yourself that
yeah.
there are now more than 8 billion people on Earth.
I don't know that I can stretch 5 napkins that far.
So when you go from the individual to the collective like that, you're no longer stuck in this all or nothing mindset because we can each just do our own part.
Oh, the collective. Oh, did you guys leave your red shirts at home by any chance?
Like us and the protesters we so desperately wanted to join.
Uh-huh.
We couldn't do what they were doing.
Yes, you could. You most certainly could. You chose not to. You set up a public thrift store and then went county to county in a truck. Nothing was holding you back from volunteering at the very things you say you wanted to support.
But we could give them something that they needed.
During 3 years of building a movement by telling people they can thrift,
No, you built a business. You didn't build a movement. You built a business.
to fight, among other things, we've come to the conclusion that the real abundance all along was actually not even clothes.
It was really with ourselves.
It was people's hunger to be part of something.
Yes, there is decidedly an innate human need. I think it's somewhere in that whole Maslow's triangle thing of being belonging to something, of feeling that sense of belongingness. Belongingness? A sense of belonging. Anyway, yes, that is very common amongst human beings, and it can be, given the right circumstances, easily exploited for one's own ends and to help justify one's own philosophy in life. So you're not giving us anything that's revelatory here. Yes, people want to feel like they belong to something larger than themselves. They want to feel like they are doing good and fighting the good fight, that they are the hero of their own story and they're actually making a difference in the world. Yes, this is an innate instinct within most people. And in a time of absolute boredom, desperation, and fear, you found an audience, just like so many others, for good or ill during that period of time. What change has anything you have done made for the world outside of creating a new business that the two of you are running? I would love to know. Because the entire premise of this presentation is you had all these things going on, but you didn't know what to do about it. So what have you done about any of it? And then my phone goes off because work needs to tell me work stuff. Okay, anyway.
So if you want to make a difference,
Uh-huh.
find a way that works for you.
Oh, okay. I'm expanding mine and presumably my audience's knowledge of either fringe or quirky ideas on modern things, and also encouraging critical thinking. Whether I agree with something or not, whether I find it interesting or not, at the end of the day, at the end of the show, I'm analyzing it, I'm assessing it on key points, and trying to divine something out of it, something beneficial, either in my understanding about the subject or the world or just in argumentation. There you go.
However unconventional it may be.
I admit, looking this deeply at TEDx talks is about as unconventional as you might imagine.
And the next time you sort through your closet, let it remind you that together we have more than enough to put up a good fight.
Okay. And that G is still bugging the heck out of me. Anyway, there you go, everyone. There's our sales pitch, elevator pitch, business presentation, whatever you want to call it, thing. That's what it is. That's what it was. And here we are. Anyway, so let's get the bingo card updated there. And I think I need to shrink it just a smidge. There we go. All right. So let's go over the bingo card one more time. And then if you have any arguments for squares to be circled, hold on to them. I will get to you presently. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, it was heavily thematic over the thing, but they never said it that I can recall. So, I mean, sense of belonging. I'm going to leave that for the minute. Word salad. No, it was a very clearly presented presentation. I didn't get a word salad anywhere in there, not really. Mind reading assumes motives. Ah, golly. Did they? No, I mean, they kind of asked more rhetorical questions at the end of the audience, like, what do you have to give? This, that, and the other. Yeah. A list. Did they ever do a list in this? Did they talk about any steps or anything? Oh, they may have. Sorry, my mind's already becoming cloudy with all this stuff. You might have to remind me. Marginalization. That was certainly heavily implied in her comment about we're raising money for those who are becoming, outlawed by laws and this, that, and the other. And so even though she didn't say the words, it was definitely close enough. Patriarchy. Yeah, business bros. Close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. Business bros. I'll take that one. Feminism. Not that I recall. Nothing overtly feminist. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. Okay, so here's the thing. Does a business name constitute a buzz phrase? Because that's what it became. Thrift to fight. I might need some backup on that. And it is a bingo square, so I don't want to just circle it willy-nilly. Systemic, institutional. Yes, they talked at the top about how she talked about Belarus. She talked about how America was as much a dictatorship as Belarus and all this, that. And I'm like, okay, so, and other things too. And an anecdote that probably never happened. I can't say that any of their anecdotes didn't happen. Nothing sounded too good to be true, and they had photographic evidence of a lot of it. So yeah, white supremacy, definitely. That was a bit in there, an undercurrent, especially with their white savior complex part of it and all that. So circling that one. Leaves out vital context. Yeah, where was the money going? I mean, and I mean specifically to what organizations, not just for the overall, high level cause, and especially in the city by city, county by county thing. Where was the money going? To whom? How was it being used? Was it used well? What were the outcomes of the donations you made? Were there any success stories from the organizations you supported or currently support that you could tout as, we helped that happen? None of that happened. None of that was given, so we don't have anything. Argumentative non sequitur. I I don't know. Is it a non sequitur to say that when they got into the throes of building a business, she said, we reached the all or nothing point again and had to back off it? Yeah, you know what? None of that made any sense. And none of it was explained away otherwise. So I don't, or is that word salad? Oh man. No, and actually, you know what? That's better word salad. I take it back. I'm going to circle word salad for that. Because when we got to that point, it was just all over the place. And I remember going like, what? So yeah, I'm going to circle that one. Privilege. Yes, if not specifically, I don't know if the word was ever used, but definitely between I can't go to a protest because deportation and I can't go to a protest because COVID. Yeah, so some people had the privilege, et cetera, and so forth. Collectivize his own demographic. Yeah, the white savior thing. I don't mean to lean on that too much, but it does cover a lot of ground. The white savior thing, and didn't want to become that, and we had to, yeah. So that works. Let's see. What do we got next? Benevolent condescension. I mean, I'm on the edge of circling it just because for as many times as they tried to make it sound like anything they were doing was really that revolutionary. But it is a bingo square, and I just want to make sure I'm in safe territory, so I'm going to leave that. A plays victim. Yes. Flower jacket lady. I can't go to a protest, but I can do all this. We weren't allowed, but I can do this other stuff that's exactly the same thing. Weightless example. Yeah, the police shootings of black people at the top had nothing to do with anything, never brought up again, never talked about what that meant. The whole Belarus is as bad as America thing for a whole bunch of different things in here that just didn't land, had nothing to do with anything. And lastly, microaggressions or unconscious bias. I mean, if I wanted to double up again, and I'm not keen to, I could say the whole business bros thing again, but I don't think I will. Okay, so anyway, this is the card as we have it. We are on the verge of a couple of bingos, but I want to leave it to you guys to convince me, and conceivably yourselves, whether or not we have a bingo or two. So with that, going to the chat, if you have an argument for a bingo square to be circled, please put it in the chat now. If I've missed it, just please repost it, and it helps if you tag me in the comments so I can see it. Divine petulance. My problem is I've literally known people like this who opened a thrift store and thought they were contributing to the community and joined the Chamber of Commerce and drank wine with the bigwigs. They're pretentious assholes. I mean, compromises have to be made in your ideals versus the reality of the situation. So they became effectively for-profit capitalists. They kind of downplayed that over the course of things, and they didn't tell us anything about, how much they've taken home. They said $75,000 they've raised. Okay. Goes to where, does what, and so on. Don't know. But anyway, Advocates Diablo Scribelight. Also, I kind of suspect the trans kid only feeling safe in their store thing didn't happen, but I can't say for sure. Yeah, it's that one little area of doubt. I mean, all things considered and given the circles they traffic in, I could believe it. It doesn't sound too far off the mark, let's say. Okay, anything else from people? Asan, I would count thrift to fight in this case. It's more than a business name. It's a concept they're trying to spread. That works. You know what? You're right. That was, and they called themselves a movement. So that's certainly, yeah. All right. I was on the edge anyway, but that definitely clinches.
Bingo.
What? Bingo! Yeah!
Of course.
We have our first bingo down the diagonal. All right. Any other arguments for squares to be circled? Advocates Diablo, buzz phrase, cross-generational share. Yeah, hand-me-downs. That was a cute turn of phrase. Cute way to try to repackage a very basic concept. That was fun. Let's see. Let me scroll a bit, make sure I didn't miss anybody or anything. Pissed off shit. She also said cross-generational sharing. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Let's see. People coming back from prison. Not implying white people. Maybe I missed something. They were giving people Ubers after protests. Yes. Well, yeah, no, they mentioned specific like outcomes, but I wanted to know like the actual names of the organizations they were donating to. I was just curious to see if there's any specific organization on that list that I could then, just for my own edification, look up and say, oh, did they do anything? Did they actually, make a change somewhere, or what are they doing with that money? Faustonia. Well, on the bright side, I think we can all appreciate the. Yeah, no. As a presentation was concerned, here's the thing. Let me go back and just critique the presentation itself. Very well done. They both had their timing down one to another as each one picked up their part of the script very well. There wasn't any like stumbling over their lines. They were very enthusiastic, a lot of good energy. They did gradually move through the evolution of what they were doing and their business. I'm not sure I gained anything insofar as an argument from it, except that we started a side thing that turned into a real business, and yay aspects of the American dream, I guess, even though our one speaker was effectively decrying America's entire concept when put up against Belarus. I'm surprised she still maintains that attitude given where she's at now and what she's been able to accomplish with hard work and dedication, even in such a dictatorial, tyrannical situation as she finds herself in. But anyway, yes, there was that part. Abdicast Diabli, worst Shark Tank I've ever seen. Yeah, didn't really sell me on the idea of anything new. It's like you opened up a thrift store. There are a lot of thrift stores out there. You may give the majority of your profits to charity, which is fine. You're effectively like a Goodwill or something. But yeah, I guess the story there is their personal evolution from college degreed flutist and jobless immigrant to building their own business. So good for them. And I'm not being facetious when I say good for them. They came up with an idea. They struck while the iron was proverbially hot. Anyway, you know what I mean. And then they banked on it and turned it into a business. So can't fault them for that. That's entrepreneurship and ambition and the American dream right there. Divine Petulance. I do like a nice vintage sweater with suede elbow patches. Oh yeah, there you go. It's trendy. Again, Macklemore all the way. Rib Rascal. I learned more today from reading how Rob Lowe sleeps a lot and eats the Atkins diet, to be honest. Well, I guess I failed at being educational today. I apologize, Rip Rascal. I hereby refund you. Never mind. Alan Thyler, thank you again so much for the laughing, happy, joyful Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat.
Wowie, wow, wow.
There's a Keever Dam Dogcat Fox. Thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate it again. Proverbially. All right, Adamcast Diabli. I can't really specify an example of benevolent condescension, but this entire talk dripped of it. I mean, it dripped of. I guess if I had to give it any kind of term, self-aggrandizement, just a smidge. I mean, the journey and their intention and their motivations for taking on this project and everything is one thing, but the actual end result and what they were doing wasn't all that amazing. I knew kids in high school who sold self-made silkscreen t-shirts out of the back of their trunk for part of the time that they were in high school. And then after high school, they actually turned that into a business. And so the process is exactly the same. They were basically like a garage band that took it on the road and then, finally made a career out of it. And again, On that basis alone, that mechanism, perfectly fine, perfectly admirable. I may question the rationale behind what they think they are or were doing at the time and everything else, but the end result is they started a business, and as far as I can tell, as of this recording, it's still in business and doing well. So good for them. I wish them all the best and success. And whatever they want to do with the money they earn is they're free to do. Yay, America. There you go. Anything else before I wrap this up? Roger Reynolds, for people who said they tried to not be all white savior, they sure made it sound like white savior like. A little bit. I guess it depends. They were helping out particular demographics with their money, which they decided or knew that they couldn't do for themselves. I don't know, a little bit. Let's see. Say on Scribelight, they listed out the things they had to learn when becoming a real business. Yes. And truthfully, probably in the process of that, they learned more by doing it than they may have learned if they'd gone to school for it ahead of time, although they would have had more preparation for it. I still wonder how her whole flutist major did for her in the long run. But I don't know. Advocates table, they made several informal lists. Yeah. I wish they'd gone over like the steps. Well, no, they did talk about they had to learn the business this and the business that and angel investors. You know what? I'm not just doing it for the sake of doing it here. They did go over the discoveries and the things they had to do in order to start a business that they did not previously know how to do, and so on and so forth. So, you know what? I'm gonna do it.
Bingo.
What?
Of course!
Double bingo, and I think that might be where we have to leave it. So, Tier Alexander, your prediction came true. 2 bingos. Now, as always, or as at least recently, if you happen to have... I clicked the wrong button. I wonder if that's going to mess up my internet. Hold on a second. Am I breaking up? Am I roboting by any chance? Let me know. I'll wait a second here because I was going to say something else. Hopefully that has... If any problems were occurring, hopefully they passed by now. As I was saying, I'm going to call it here, but as I've said previously, if you have an argument for a square yet to be circled and it's after the stream, please leave a comment making your argument there. If your argument happens to create a new bingo out of it all, at least by my discretion, I will post that into the Discord server, and I'll also pin your comment to the video in order that people know in the future that there was potentially an extra or extra bingos that came about from it. But speaking of the Discord server, before I forget, if you'd like to join the Discord server, I'll put a link in the chat right now. And you click on that link, you'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me and my moderators that you actually watch the show and thus earn the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is, what was it again? Generational what's-its? Cross-generational sharing. Just go on to the Discord server and say, hello, cross-generational sharing, and you'll become a member of the Discord server. So there you go, cross-generational sharing. A couple more programming notes. You can find me here each Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for another TED Excellence, as always. Sundays, I do the Sunday stream at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, where I talk about a thing. I usually decide what that thing is on Saturday, so it's always a surprise, sometimes even to me. Also, I am in the process, we'll see, of putting together a Living on Borrowed Crime panel discussion. About a specific topic that has come up in previous interviews, but given something that was published just a couple of days ago, it seemed like a good idea or a good time to try to bring people together and really discuss the topic as a group. So I'm still working that out. There's a whole bunch of people I've contacted who all have different time zones and different schedules, so I can't give you when that'll happen, but that is an idea in the works. I hope to have that out sooner rather than later, as well as a couple of other interviews which I have put out some feelers for. More on that as it develops. But with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed the show and found something beneficial from it, even if it is a TEDx. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Everybody who donated either to myself or to the GoFundMe's pinned at the top of the chat box, thank you guys so much for your generosity. It is very much appreciated, and I know it helps out whenever you can give it. One final closing note, please like, share, and subscribe if you are able to. I'd appreciate it. And as well, if there is any content creator out there that you appreciate, whether it's me or someone else, please be sure to share their stuff out on social media when you have the opportunity to do so, because YouTube is no friend of the small-time content creator, and you guys are our best algorithm. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday. Hope you all have a good Friday ahead of you, and stay warm over this weekend. Depending on where you are, you might be in for Chilltown. And I hope you are all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, Zero the Hero 909. Good evening.